Parties in the Western Cape not contesting elections have endorsed Patriotic Alliance President Gayton McKenzie. They signed a pledge in Cape Town today. McKenzie has again accused the DA-led government of neglecting communities.
Why we called you here today is that all these parties are not just a guy that started the party. There's ex-mayors sitting here. These people have representation in government. So there's a lot of people who want to join us. Moonshot packed the two parties called Spectrum, 1, and Isanko, 2. None of those parties has ever been part of a by-election. And they paraded them to the media. Today, we are bringing you parties. But unlike Spectrum, unlike Isanko and all the other parties they have there, all these parties has representation in different councils in the Western Cape. And we want to invite all the other parties throughout South Africa to unite behind the Patriotic Alliance.
Right, hoping to speak to one of the parties who entered into that agreement with the Patriotic Alliance, and that is the Karoo Democratic Force President, Noël Constable, who also was the Speaker, or still is, but we'll find out, in the Central Karoo municipality. Noël, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on this evening. What do you think your odds are to bring down a party? If we look at party support in the last elections, was sitting at about 1.6 million votes. And you're saying you're going to reduce that party by 20%. So take away a good 450,000 votes, if my mathematics is correct. On what grounds are you making that summation?
We believe that we will bring the DA down to at least 30%. Meaning that the Patriotic Alliance, we believe, will get at least between 24 and 28% in the Western Cape. So we also believe that there will be a coalition government in the Western Cape, and we will then decide who we will work with after the elections.
That's what I'm trying to understand. I mean, the party support of the Patriotic Alliance is 70,000 at this particular point. How do you take them up to 28? Your party on its own, if we look at your party support, you're sitting at about 4,000 at this particular point. Have those numbers gone up?
The numbers definitely gone up. But remember, we are not alone in this fight. We are having other parties to support us. The KGP of Prince Albert, we have Watsenburg Aksi at Watsenburg municipality. We also have the community party in Oudtshoorn and at Viskantoor. So between all of us, we believe we will have the numbers to bring down the Democratic Alliance.
Yeah. Tell me about the work that you've done. I mean, because with all those parties, at Viskantoor has got 3,188 party support votes in the last election. The Oudtshoorn Gemeenskap Initiative has also got another 2,000 votes. It doesn't even begin to collate to 10,000 votes. So unless you're saying there's incredible work that you've done since 2016 to raise those numbers at least to 500,000 or 1 million, I don't see how you plan to do that.
Now, remember the momentum is on the side of the smaller parties. The DA and the African National Congress, they don't have a message. We have a clear message to the voters, and we believe we will get the voters to the voting districts and out in the election to make sure that they give their vote to the Patriotic Alliance. If you can look at everything we are doing currently in the communities, there's work on the ground. All our volunteers are on the ground. We supported the Patriotic Alliance in certain by-elections, and they won the by-elections by far between themselves, the DA and the African National Congress. So the growth of the Patriotic Alliance and the other parties, you can see it at the by-elections.
So let's talk about yourself. I mean, as the KDF, what have you done differently? I mean, to what you have previously achieved, right? I mean, you ended up in some instances jumping between the the Democratic Alliance and the ANC. In 2016, you got 5.14%, and you were the deciding factor, so to speak. You chose to go with the ANC, but eventually you also left the ANC and went with the DA. So what have you done at this particular point?
No, you see what, in 2016 we first go with a Democratic Alliance. So we were first in coalition with the Democratic Alliance before we go to the ANC.
Yes.
And that's where we found that the Democratic Alliance is not a reliable coalition partner. They don't want to listen to anybody. They want to have their own agenda, and the manifestos of smaller parties are not really effective for them. And that's why we left them in 2018 and then moved to the African National Congress. And we are still in coalition with the African National Congress because we have the same base and we have the same message. We have the same, we want the same for our people on the ground. And currently we are in a coalition with the African National Congress and the Patriotic Alliance. And if you look since 2021, the last local government election, you see progress in the municipalities where we are governing.
So others would say that that's precisely the challenge that you are faced with, to convince people that you will be any different from the ANC, because the Democratic Alliance would say that in the municipalities where you govern. Now, you still speak, by the way, no?
Look, this is a national elections. This is not local government.
Yeah.
The national program will be different, because if you look at smaller municipalities and you look how provincial and national government are treating us, you can see there's a big difference, especially in the Western Cape where Democratic Alliance is in government. Look at the places where they govern as the DA in municipalities, and you look at the resources that they send there. And then you look at municipalities where they don't govern. You can see the big difference between how they send resources to that municipalities where they govern and how they send resources to municipalities where they don't govern. Yeah. And that is for us the process and the program. How do we influence the processes and the legislation on giving to the poorest of the poor, and deliberate and also discuss and distribute the different resources when it comes to the Division of Revenue Act and the funding to municipalities.
Precisely, but you're not at national government, you are at local government, so the voter is going to judge you based on your performance at local government, because they don't have anything else to go by. And if we look at that, it doesn't paint a picture that is any different to what the ANC has been doing on the ground.
You see, that's where we have the problem. You're looking at us as local government, municipalities and councillors. Everyone starts at the bottom and you work yourself up to the top. This is the first time for us to contest in the national government. We have a story to tell. If you look at the current situation of Beaufort West municipality, where I am the speaker, and you look at the previous situation, you can see there's more positives coming into the municipality where we currently stand. And that is a track record that we show to the municipality and to the people of the Central Karoo and around.
Yeah. People say, for example, yourself, you've got a matter in 2021 with Quinton Lowe, that is before the Beaufort West court, and they look at those issues and they say, well, what is the difference that you're going to bring?
Thabo, and that is the problem. You see, that is the way the DA treat us. Just before an election, because that was a local government election, and we were supposed to win that election. 2 weeks before that local government election, the DA came with nonsense. Currently, there's nothing happening on that court case. Nothing. For 3 years, we up and down, and there's no proof of what we've did. But that is the strategy of the DA. When you're black, when you're colored, you are corrupt, you are stealing from people, and they are also the people that are stealing. We are not stealing, we are doing it for our people. They don't have evidence, and the evidence is not there, and currently, even in the court, they can't show us any evidence, and we will come back, I'm telling you, we will come back to clear our names. As soon as the court wants us to do that.
Are you maintaining then your relationship with the ANC in that local government?
We are maintaining our relationship in Beaufort West and other municipalities in the central Karoo because we are in coalition, and the councillors of the African National Congress, I believe, in Beaufort West are good councillors. They understand the processes and legislation, the Municipal Finance Management Act, Structures Act, and we are dealing with issues on a merit basis, and we are making sure that the people of Beaufort West getting the services that they're supposed to get.
Yeah. Gayton McKenzie was mayor of the Central Karoo for a bit, made some promises. Was there a massive difference that he made in as far as one of your key areas that you call for economic freedom for the people of the Central Karoo?
Gayton McKenzie, when he came to Beaufort West in the Central Karoo, remember he became a councillor in Laingsburg municipality, and from there he was the mayor of the district municipality. The one thing I can tell you that Gayton McKenzie did and brought to the Central Karoo is hope, and made us understand that there's more to give and more that you can do to the people on the ground. He showed us another way of governing with the assistance of councillors in the municipality. So he understands corporate world, he understands how to do business, and that is his strength. And he showed us that if you want to broaden the scope and bring economic development to the people, you have to make sure that there's an atmosphere for investors to come to your area. Not only the Central Karoo, but all over. If you want people to invest, you have to make sure that you have the correct services in that area.
Did you address your supporters and those who would have given you their votes in 2016 to say you are now going to take those votes and give them to the Patriotic Alliance? How did that meeting go?
Remember, all of us have structures. When you're in an organization, you do have structures. So we have structures. We have a central executive committee, we have a regional executive committee, and we have branch structures. We've addressed them at several occasions. We've understand and make them understand what is the reasons for us to join forces with the Patriotic Alliance. And when you look currently now, the forces of the Karoo Democratic Force is on the ground, making sure that people understand the message. We have volunteers that is working specifically on the messaging of the Karoo Democratic Force and the reason why we support the Patriotic Alliance. So we are busy, we are working, and the people understand the message that we have sent to them.
Yeah. Is this a coalition? Is this a voting arrangement? Do you have an agreement with the Patriotic Alliance for positions in the province?
Look, we don't do this for positions. We don't do it for anything else, but to make sure that we have another government in the Western Cape and making sure that Gayton McKenzie becomes the Premier of the Western Cape. If he comes back and give us anything, then it's fine. But this is a gentleman's agreement, and we've started this agreement in 2022 already. And he have never failed us, he have never lied to us. He's an honest man, he's a man that sticks to his word, and as I said this morning to the media, he walked the talk. When he says something, he's doing it, and we trust him and his word.
So one of the issues that are big for you as the KDF is the question of black economic empowerment, how it's currently perceived and maybe how it is currently done. Just talk to me about what that would look like in a Patriotic Alliance-led administration in the province.
The key issues for the Karoo Democratic Force, remember I was also the executive mayor of Central Karoo 2016 and then became the executive mayor of Beaufort West municipality. I started up by saying the distribution of funding, how province treats municipalities, the different ways of them speaking and addressing municipalities, the legislative process on how they address and how they deal with municipalities, specifically municipalities that is not governed by the Democratic Alliance. So we believe the Patriotic Alliance will have another approach because we work with one another at a local level. There will be a difference in legislature. There will be a difference in how they distribute funding and resources to municipalities. There will be a difference on how they support municipalities, because provinces are supposed to support municipalities and not supposed to hunt municipalities that is not part of their political sphere.
Yeah. So you're saying your message is in terms of policies, because parties are contesting on manifestos, largely to your supporters, you're saying it's based on the fact that this administration of the Patriotic Alliance, given a chance, will better support municipalities.
That's my message. But also, remember the manifesto of the Patriotic Alliance is talking about bringing God back to our communities, bringing God back in society. That is a very big thing for us. We believe that in the manifesto, the 6 points that the Patriotic Alliance is putting on the table, that is what draws us, and that is what makes our supporters believe that there can be a difference. So the manifesto with the bylaws and the policies, if you combine that, we believe we can do better than the Democratic Alliance.
Noël Constable, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. President and leader of the Karoo Democratic Force, one of the 5 small political parties in the Western Cape that are going to be putting their weight behind the Patriotic Alliance in a bid to oust the Democratic Alliance in the Western Cape.